Before we get into the video, let me just emphasize that I'm a huge Pokemon fan. I really enjoyed the games growing up and I still play them to this day. Pokemon is the #1 largest grossing media company in the world, reporting over $90 billion as of 2019. To give you an example, Pokemon is worth more than Star Wars, Harry Potter, and the MCU. Now with that being said, it's common knowledge to expect that as successful as Pokemon has become, we receive great new gaming experiences in Pokemon. Except this isn't the case, and that's what I want to discuss with you all in today's video. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe, and with that out of the way, let's get straight into the video. The Pokemon Foundation has pretty much always been the same. You start your Pokemon journey with one of the region's starters, you catch Pokemon to complete your team of 6, you battle the evil organization, defeat gym leaders, and take on the Elite Four. I've pretty much just described 80% of what you do in mainline Pokemon games. Now there's nothing wrong with having this consistent story foundation if the story wasn't so boring.
This is what? This is boring.
Okay, maybe boring is a strong word. The story isn't terrible, but they don't seem as engaging as they should be. Like I've stated before, the player already knows what they're going to get with the unmemorable and generic gym leaders or evil organizations. I would love to see more humanized and relatable villains like Archie and Maxie from Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire. Their motives weren't entirely malicious, they were just misunderstood when it came to seeing their vision unfold. Or it might be cool to see a Pokemon as the villain, like Mewtwo from Pokemon the first movie. Having a mainline Pokemon game based off the movies might be a breath of fresh air that the Pokemon company needs for their games. I would really like to see a game based off the movie with Entei the Unknown or Pokemon the first movie. The point is that there are plenty of Pokemon movies that could be reimagined into games, yet they haven't been done. Pokemon games don't really need to have the same formula that they've been having, and I feel like most of the Pokemon player base is starting to get burned out with this formula, especially after the release of Pokemon Sword and Shield. Speaking of Sword and Shield, what exactly was this game supposed to be? It seemed like the Pokemon company wanted to go newer and bolder, but in the end, probably released the worst received Pokemon game to date. Fans expected it to be this long-awaited open-world game with the way the Pokemon company was hyping up the wild area. This wild area ended up falling flat and just feeling like a big safari zone. There was no story element in the wild area, it was all just for catching Pokemon and training. This area could have incorporated some Pokemon gyms to at least give the player a reason to immerse themselves a little longer while still progressing on the storyline. With some incorporation of the Pokemon gyms and some narrative supporting elements such as the antagonists and objectives, I think they could be onto something. Also incorporating the cities and towns into the open world would make it feel more dense and alive rather than how barren the wild area currently feels in Pokemon Sword and Shield. There's almost no roaming NPCs and very little to explore once making a couple laps around. Adding explorable locations such as caves and towns would really make the environment feel immersive. I believe that Pokemon Sword and Shield was a step in the right direction with the experimentation, but this was their first and last warning for many fans. Hey Pokemon, learn from this and what fans are asking of you. I mean, fans have gone as far as to make their own Project Open World Pokemon games and have been shut down. Be the very best and make the open world game we've been wanting.
Sir? Sir, are you listening to me, sir? Sir, I'm talking to you!
In the end, Pokemon was trying to be bold, and when I think of bold, I think of Breath of the Wild, and quite honestly, I think a lot of fans were expecting this level of boldness from Pokemon when the Sword and Shield trailer dropped. The Legend of Zelda franchise completely switched up their usual linear style game for an open world game, and we saw how fans reacted to that. Hopefully going forward, we don't see this rush level of quality from Pokemon and they actually take their time. I would really like to see an open world Pokemon game. One feature in recent Pokemon games that bothered me is that our Pokemon can only be trained up to a certain level cap before we need to progress further in the story and obtain the next gym badge. This is upsetting to me because any hope for an open world game would have to remove this block. If the Pokemon company wants to explore features like expanding the wild area and making a more open world game, then keeping the level cap would really do the future game a disservice by limiting how far the player can explore before finding the next gym. Also, the removal of HMs have been one great feature, but the unlimited use of TMs can make the game too easy. In previous games, TMs would break after one use and teaching one Pokemon a specific move. Now, with unlimited uses, you can teach all your able Pokemon an overpowered move and defeat your opponents more swiftly. This leads into a discussion about how newer Pokemon games have become far too easy for knowledgeable and experienced Pokemon players. I think the addition of a game difficulty setting would only aid the future development of Pokemon titles. One feature an easy mode could have would be having your entire party share gained experience from Pokemon catches and battles. Teams also wouldn't break upon use, and super effective moves can have a larger damage multiplier. Now, for a harder game mode, it would reflect the more traditional Pokemon games, where experience points was not shared for your entire party from Pokemon battles unless you had the experience share. You would also not gain experience points from Pokemon catches, teams would break upon use, and super effective moves would do less damage to your opponents. Another feature that I would love to see the Pokemon Company introduce would be side quests. I would have loved to see this feature be implemented in Sword and Shield. The wild area just seemed like a good place to introduce this mechanic. Side quests where players would have to catch a certain Pokemon for an NPC and receive a cash reward or an item or something along the lines of those. Quests that would make the player explore a biome and catch a certain amount of Pokemon of a specific type in order to receive a reward like a rare Pokemon with good IVs. Hopefully in the next installment of the Pokemon series we'll get to see something like this introduced. I believe the introduction of any of these features would ultimately benefit the series, mainly the introduction of a difficulty setting because players have been asking for this for years. Also, it's 2021, and the only game I can think of that can get away without having a difficulty setting is Dark Souls, because it was a game designed to be hard. That game also appeals to a smaller audience than the Pokemon games do, and as widespread as the Pokemon Company's player base's ages are, I think a difficulty setting would only benefit them moving forward. Gotta catch 'em all, huh? This is another issue I have with the franchise going forward. With the release of Sword and Shield, we've seen the National Dex not include all the Pokemon. This makes you unable to catch all the Pokemon after completing the main game because the company didn't want to model them. I personally think that we should have access to the National Dex with all the models. I've been playing Pokemon for about 15 years, and if we're being honest, I don't really care about the newer generation Pokemon. They aren't terrible, but I prefer older generation models that I grew up with, I know I'll like, and I know are reliable. I think the main reason this franchise didn't release the entire National Dex is because it would require more time spent on their part, like making animations for these Pokemon. Or should I say lack of animations. With newer Pokemon games on a console system, they need to do more than jump up and down and have a little damage effect on the other Pokemon. I would like to see actual contact if it's a physical move, or something other than this. I understand it's a JRPG genre, but look at Final Fantasy VII. In that game, the controls were much more clean and fluid. At the end of the day, Pokemon games are just button smashing. I can't tell you how many times I have fallen asleep playing these games because I wasn't engaged. These animations need to be cool and clean, and the fights need to be more energetic. But Pokemon doesn't want to create animations for their new and old models. It's going to cost too much money and time, and in the end, they won't get to release a game every holiday season. I've pointed out a lot of issues I've had with Pokemon recently. However, I don't believe the games are bad. I just think they need a revamp. We know they're long overdue for one. Older fans are growing tired of seeing little to no progression with the franchise, and it seems like Pokemon is catering to the younger, newer crowd. This is upsetting because it seems like Pokemon isn't utilizing their full potential of what a Pokemon game could be, and instead just going for something simplistic to make some quick revenue. I wish that the development cycle in between the Pokemon games was extended, mainline or not. That way we will see the budget of the games be larger and more time would be allowed to provide a better product to the consumers. In the end, Pokemon has something fun for all ages, but adding different features and keeping up with their entire fan base could lead to more positive results and happy fans. Let me know in the comments what concerns you have with the Pokemon games. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video.